Thank you, Mr. President. My delegation is taking the floor to respond to the inflammatory remarks just made by the delegation of India. This delegation once again refuses to confront the facts presented by my delegation about India's abysmal treatment of minorities, opting instead to present fabricated assertions to this assembly. Mr. President, it is rather ironic for a country to give sermons to others when its minorities, including Christians, Muslims, and Dalits, are publicly lynched at the hands of Hindutva zealots on a daily basis. Mr. President, Pakistan condemns any incident of religious violence within our borders. Our leadership swiftly intervenes, condemns the attacks, and ensures swift justice for the perpetrators. In stark contrast, India's leadership appears bent on escalating communal tensions. Can the representative of India justify the recent incident where a BJP leader openly threatened to slaughter 200,000 Muslims? We witness India's leadership's unabashed use of anti-Muslim rhetoric for political gain, including their Prime Minister calling Muslims infiltrators during one of his campaign speeches. Moreover, Hindu priests have openly called for genocide of Muslim minorities in India. Mr. President, normally if such incidents occur in any country, swift and scrupulous action is taken to create deterrence. However, India stands out, where the government not only endorses but is complicit in these serious crimes. There is a glaring lack of political will to curb these atrocities in India, unlike Pakistan's unequivocal stance in the similar circumstances. Mr. President, this record against minorities in India has alarmed UN human rights experts, which issued a statement in March earlier this year stating, and I quote, "We're alarmed at the continuing reports of attacks on religious, racial, and ethnic minorities, on women and girls, on intersecting grounds, and on civil society, including human rights defenders and the media in India." Mr. President, we would like to remind the Indian delegation that instead of making vitriolic remarks and fabricating information with no evidence against my country, they should better address the concerns being consistently raised by the UN experts and reverse the dangerous Islamophobic trend in their country. Mr. President, they referred to the events of 1971, which were not a question of genocide, but of India's foreign aggression and attack on national sovereignty and territorial integrity of Pakistan. I would like to request the Indian representative to refer to the General Assembly Resolution 1971, December, which upheld the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Pakistan against the foreign invasion. Mr. President, as far as terrorism is concerned, it is rather ironic for a country that uses terrorism as an instrument of state policy against its neighbors to point fingers at others. It is surprising to see that this country is lecturing on terrorism when it is itself a state sponsor of terrorism, running a global franchise of assassination campaigns, and has abused sanctioned regime in the Security Council to prevent the listing of its nationals involved in various terrorist activities. Mr. President, India knows all too well that its illegal annexation would never be accepted by the occupied people of Jammu and Kashmir. However, it stubbornly refuses to acknowledge a simple fact that the Jammu and Kashmir dispute is neither a constitutional nor an internal matter of India. It has always been and continues to remain an internationally recognized dispute under the relevant Security Council resolutions. It cannot be wished away by India through legal acrobatics. Considering that actions taken by India in Indian-occupied Jammu and Kashmir transgress all limits of legality, human rights, and humanitarian norms, the international community must work towards alleviating the suffering of the people of Jammu and Kashmir by granting them their right to self-determination as enshrined by the UN Charter, as well as numerous Security Council resolutions. I thank you, Mr. President.